know, Carl, because I mean we've seen every car screened. At the checkpoint.
Well, I'll tell you what, when the traffic, not always, when we first start off, we're starting off with seven cars in.
Right, now you are. Right.
But when the traffic becomes very light, I can change that. And as long as it's made by a supervisory level officer, which I am, I can change that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and what I was about to say was since that hearing, these checkpoints I've been telling everyone they're almost run perfectly. But what you can't see is their officer Walters. Here you're doing them to a T. I see how you're screening. I mean, you're not necessarily picking out people with brown skin, but your officers down there are.
Well,
I mean, we've got them on film.
You know, how are they determining who's getting pulled over? If they're pulling over people with a tail light burned out, or
it's right there on the on a driveway, and he actually gets ready to go before someone needs to go right now. He's ready to go. You can see them coming down and stopping. We've got it on film. We get it every time. He's in the same location every time. We're at the checkpoint. He turns and pulls over every brown.
Well, you may believe that. I don't believe that's the case.
You've got to come on. You really got to come on and ask me and ask me. I mean, I basically told you I see how you screen the vehicles. I do believe that this checkpoint is about increase. You and I disagree on that. But I mean, I'm telling you guys are running this perfectly right now, and you have been for several checkpoints. But Walters, you've got to go watch him. You've got to watch him. It's sickening.
Now, why do you believe it's about impounds? I'm just curious why people think.
When a city is making $500,000 a year off of the toll contract, you have to have so many impounds in order for the toll companies to pay the city what they're paying. If you're not going to get impounds, the toll companies are not going to be willing to pay the amount of money they are.
Well,
keep in mind, you had to have your bulletproof vests donated. So you guys are running a $500,000 operation, and you can't even get the city to support for you some new bulletproof vests.
Well, the impound or the tow contracts are not just for checkpoints.
If you're going to tell me that the tow companies are going to be willing to pay $500,000 to tow parked vehicles, so we repurchase vehicles, that is not the case.
No, but
Josh Parks has been quoted in the newspaper as saying, "Where's the impound? They've gone down, this isn't fair, our fees should be lowered." So it is about the impounds, it is about the contract.
Well, Josh Parks doesn't speak for the city. Josh is speaking for himself. Impounds throughout the year are based on, there are impounds from checkpoints, there are impounds from normal everyday patrolling, arrests, there are impounds for a variety of things. Not just checkpoints. Actually, checkpoints are a very small number of...
Between the year 2009 and 2010, you had a total of 714 or 717 impounds from just checkpoints. That's a lot of impounds.
Well, I don't know.
And that even wasn't, that's just the highest number in the last 3 years. Because you used to, I don't think you were doing the checkpoints back then, but you used to be impounding 80 vehicles from you being 9, 60 vehicles.
Okay. Why is it not that you're looking at we're getting 70 or 10 or whatever the number might be, unlicensed, untested drivers off the roads, when every 20 out of 100 people involved in fatal accidents are unlicensed?
First of all, you're talking about a California state law that seems to be ignored in the city of Escondido and a lot of other cities.
What one is that?
You're not allowed to screen a driver for his license. This should not be about every single driver you pull over. You're asking for their papers. You're asking for license. You're asking for registration. You're asking for insurance.
We are allowed to ask for driver's license.
It is a California law, and despite the fact that Jeffrey Epps says, "Oh, it doesn't apply to checkpoints," that's not clarified in the law. It just says that a peace officer is not allowed to pull over a vehicle for the primary reason of checking the driver's license. There is no exception to that rule. There's none.
Well, the legislative intent was for a patrol officer that driving along not indiscriminately pull someone over to see if they were licensed. It does not say that it's illegal for someone or for us at a checkpoint. So we could debate, we're looking at the same thing from two different...
You're just adding text to the law. Because Jeffrey Epp has told you to add text to the law.
No, I don't talk to Jeffrey Epp about that.
You can't add text to a law to fit your convenience.
Well, neither can you then, so...
I've just actually quoted the law to you.
Okay.
So, Steve Esposito removed...
Okay.
One of my signs says after you leave on the top. That's what this is all about, unfortunately. You talk about how people might not shouldn't drive because they're breaking the law because they're driving without a license. If you were to go house to house, you would find people that have downloaded music illegally. You would find people that are growing popcorn. You would find people that have pirated movies. Once you start doing this with cars,
those things are not what kills people, though. And driving without a license is proven that there's a much higher percentage of people that drive without licenses cause or involved in collisions. It's just a fact. They have never.
I don't know the number.
It is.
I've never heard the number.
Look up or Google the AAA study.
old study. I haven't even looked at it because it's so old and outdated.
Does that mean it's invalid?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. I mean, really.
All right.
Also, OTS says that DUI-related accidents occur mostly between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm always wondering why you always have checkpoints that start at 6 and end at midnight. And if you look at San Marcos, if you look at Vista, if you look at Oceanside, look at all the other surrounding cities, they'll start their checkpoints between 7 and 8 in the evening and end at 2 and 3 in the morning. In Escondido, we start at 6, often on a Friday night, right off the freeway. Don't tell me you're looking for DUIs. You're looking for people coming home from work so you can take their cars. The hours of operation need to change. I mean, that is just, it's such a big, huge thing.
Okay, let's go back to the goal of the checkpoint. Do you know what the goal of the checkpoint is?
You should be focusing on DUIs.
No. The goal of the checkpoints from OTS is deterrence and education. The secondary benefit is catching DUI drivers. Okay, look at OTS, call them, and I know you have.
They just the city of Escondido to do more checkpoints than just 2 in a month because of our high ranking DUI accidents. And I think that might have a lot to do with hours of operation. Perhaps if you change the hours of the checkpoints from 7 to 8 to 2 or 3, even 1 or 2, you might actually decrease DUI accidents.
Well, again, like I said before, we disagree philosophically about several things.
You don't think that the hours of operation have accidents?
No, because first of all, going to the goal of the checkpoint, the deterrence, educating the public, not catching drunks, that's not the purpose of a checkpoint. A saturation patrol, where you have extra officers assigned to the street, there's a better opportunity to catch drunk drivers because the officers are all over the city. And typically what happens is our location gets broadcast by different media.
One media. North County Times, that's the only one that broadcasts.
I don't mean media, I mean like Trapster and texting trees and all that. You don't think that the locations are announced in bars? Absolutely they are. We know that our locations are announced in bars. And this is a Friday night. Look at it's not even 10 o'clock. The amount of traffic is so light that now we're screening every car
Okay.
instead of every 7. So after about midnight, there's such little traffic that it's not worth staying out here trying to educate people with information. And that's why starting at 6, there are more people coming through.
Okay. We're number 3, according to OTS and DUI-related accidents with the cities of our same population.
Well,
Because we're ranked number 3, they have allowed Escondido to do more than 2 checkpoints a month.
Where did you hear that?
That's on the OTS website. That's directly from their website.
I've never seen that.
I will send you the email on
Okay,
that.
good.
So we are number 3.
I think we're number 6, but it's still not
You
great.
were at one point, I believe, number 5 or 7. But this in 2009 to 2010, Escondido ranks number 3. On that same statistical
Well, the 2010
page,
statistics haven't even come out yet.
well, this is by OTS.
OTS, I just looked at it this evening, and 2010 statistics still have not come
Then it
out.
might have been
All the way across to the
2009.
van over there.
For the last 3 years, we've never ranked below number 2. Okay,
Probably.
we've never ranked below number 2.
I probably agree with you there.
OTS has said it was either last month or 2 months ago that the top 50 cities with DUI accidents will be allowed to do more than 2 checkpoints a month. You guys did your 3 checkpoints last month, so obviously we're qualifying. And according to the statistics, we were ranking number 3. Now, if OTS on that same page is saying that DUI accidents occur between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m., and you're being allowed to do more than 2 checkpoints, and your grant money is going to be increased because you're allowed to do more checkpoints, don't you think it's, obvious and
Well,
rational to do a checkpoint that encompasses more of those DUI-related accidents?
Well, here's what we do. We stop it at midnight because the opportunity for the education diminishes greatly.
Well, we're talking about lives that could possibly be ruined and destroyed.
Like, you guys really care about that. You're thinking about, you'd rather have us stop completely doing the checkpoints, and you don't really care about the drivers that are unlicensed.
You're still not answering my question. If we're number 3 for DUI-related accidents, and DUI-related accidents are proven to occur between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning, why then are you the city out of 6 or 7 cities around us that stops at midnight when the rest of them stop at 2 and 3 in the morning? Don't you think that's the reason that we might rank number 3 for DUI-related accidents? No?
Our roving officers stay out to shut the checkpoints down.
Most cities don't around here.
I hear you.
And they're not qualifying for those more than 2 checkpoints a month.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is you're going between 6 and midnight. You're looking for what it seems. It basically is obvious that you're looking for people without licenses. That's the first thing you do when people come up and they drive through here. You ask them for their license. And yet we rank number 3 out of the cities with DUI-related accidents. And it makes no sense to stop at midnight. The bars don't close until 2.
Okay. Well, we philosophically disagree about how to do the enforcement, and
I mean, do you want to keep having a number 3?
no, not at all.
I mean, because you get more grant money then if you're allowed more than 2 checkpoints. a
No,
month.
actually, it doesn't matter about that. If you're not understanding that the goal is to contact as many people as we can and try to influence them to not drink and drive. And so starting late and when most people have already gone home, the amount of traffic on the roads already is diminishing. The number
What's starting late to you?
starting the checkpoint. Say it at 9, 8, 9, whatever. Most of the traffic is already starting to diminish. People are already home or whatever. And going till 2 or 3 in the morning, I mean, you can already see at 10 o'clock how little traffic there is. So our opportunity to be able to at least see somebody and give them, let them know that we're out here.
But again, if we're ranked number 3 by OTS, then there aren't DUI-related accidents. Don't you think that it's the police department's duty, especially being funded by taxpayers, to try to decrease those DUI accidents?
And we are.
When they occur between the hours of 9 and 6. I mean, it doesn't make sense to stop at midnight. It doesn't make sense. So you're going 3 hours, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 hours where DUI accidents are less likely to occur. 9, 10. You're only having a checkpoint. You're only having a checkpoint for 3 hours.
Okay.
3 hours when DUI-related accidents are more likely to occur, and we rank number 3.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to debate any longer our enforcement tactics. I've already explained to you why we do what we do. You don't agree.
Because it's not about DUI accidents, it's more about educating people on their way home from work.
So that they know that we're out here all the time, and so
Except when the DUI drivers are on the road.
DUI drivers are out on the road at 6 o'clock at night, at 7 o'clock at night.
But most of them are likely to occur between the hours of 9 and 6.
Well, I haven't heard that.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, please do.
Will you respond to it?
Sure.
When you have a second, we have some issues.
Okay. All right.
And
Jen,
if you see those statistics, and
will
you think about asking to change the policy?
I don't make the policy, you know that.
Asking to. You would have some level of input. If you see that these statistics are correct, will you talk to whoever's supposed to make the policy?
Yes.
Okay, because they are true and factual statistics.
Okay. Very nice talking with you. Bye, Jeff.
Thank you. Hold on.
I know, I'm waiting.
Just don't.